I know obviously you don't know who you're going to play, but you got to start thinking about it.
We're just going to run today. Just get some cardio in and get a bunch of shots up, and then we'll practice tomorrow.
Whoever you play, you'll be playing for the third time. Is there much that they can do different at that point? How much can they change? What's your game plan change?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think they'd change a whole lot.
You know, the big advantage you got with this system is the unfamiliarity when you get to the NCAA tournament. But you don't really have that in the Big 12 tournament because the guys know you played each team twice, so that's really not an advantage for you.
Well, they've got a frame of reference, but they don't have time to work on it. You know, it's kind of like, play Syracuse twice and then, you get one day to get ready. Guys forget. So.
Is the object to try, you can't out-trick coaches, but you can sometimes mess with players, make them make decisions, things like that. Is that part of the object of what you're trying to do here a little bit?
Try to make them just play basketball. Get them out of rhythm, get them out of what they want to do, get them out of what they practice. Guys don't practice just playing basketball. You run sets and you have your point guard start the sets, and we try to take the point guard and make it tough for him and make him play basketball.
If you go slow, the coaches can be more involved in the decision making, but if you speed them up and go fast, then that puts it on the players, I guess, to a degree, right?
I think it totally puts it on the players.
Yeah. Which is what you want.
Well, it's kind of a, do you attack the pressure or do you get it across half court and try to set it up? And I think we've done a pretty good job of making it hard for the point guard to get it back.
Any idea what Jonathan's situation's going to be?
He's still got swelling, but he'll be all right.
All right in a week or all right in a day?
Well, we don't need him really till Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got
The fact that
a
he's
couple
in
more
good
days.
shape, though, helps. I mean, he's a guy who can get in the game shape pretty quickly.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of fat. Oh, and I wasn't directing that at you, John.
Just talking to Javon, he was saying how the whole team kind of has it on the back of their minds that you haven't won a game in the Big 12 Conference tournament yet. Is there anything different that you do heading into it compared to a regular season game? How do you approach these ones, knowing that you win one, you play the next day?
Well, obviously the hardest thing is we don't know who we're playing. So when we practice tomorrow, we'll kind of do a little bit of both, And I think, that TCU could win. I think everybody expects Tech to win, but TCU could win. They've had good games there. So just the game preparation part of it, but it gives us time to work on us, which is good too.
Tough going out on a Tuesday knowing you don't play till Thursday night. You practice, but you also sit around a lot.
Yeah, I don't think they sit around that much.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go out Tuesday, and by the time we get there and get back from practice, they'll have dinner and then, relax a little bit. And then the next day we're going to take them to the game, at least for half of the game. So we'll practice and come back, get something to eat, and then go to the game. So they're not sitting around as much as what maybe you would think they are.
You've said in the past this season that this is the toughest league you've ever coached in, considering all the depth. Being able to finish second and get a 13-5 record, what kind of accomplishment is that for you guys?
Well, we wanted to win. It's good in that it gives us a better situation in the NCAA tournament, but I don't think our guys or anybody really associated with us that's not what we set out to do. We set out to win. So it's good for the NCAA tournament.
What's to say about Javon 2 years in a row now, his first 2 years getting on the defensive team for the Big 12?
Steals a lot of balls. He's second in the league in steals. So I think when you go down and look at the defensive categories, he kind of stands out.
for you when things maybe aren't going as smoothly offensively? Is that a big part of why he's able to stay in the game, and you feel like it's necessary to keep him in that 5 out on the court?
He was one of our better players. I mean, you want to keep your better players on the floor as much as you possibly can, as long as they're not tired. I think JC and Tariq have done a good job of kind of having one of them on the floor to make sure that we got into what we needed to get into.
Coach, if you guys win this thing, just kind of going off what the conference's RPI is, wouldn't you guys be pushing for a #1 seed?
Just, I don't know. We won the Big East and we were the last 2 seed.
That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
So we ended up being really the 8th best team according to the committee. And I thought we beat some pretty good teams on the way to winning the Big East tournament too. So I don't know. I mean, I thought we were pushing to get a 1 in, and then it ends up we weren't even close. I mean, we're way closer to a 3 than we were a 2. So I'm not sure.
But the Big 12 probably, if there would be 2 1s, that would be probably the only conference that could do it. I know they say the ACC, but really, in reality, the Big 12 would be the league that could get 2 1s.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's saying. Oklahoma still has a great chance to be a 1. They're not saying we do, but they're saying Oklahoma does.
Yeah, you finished a game above them in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
If everything goes well, you got potentially 3 games in 48 hours. Bigger challenge to get the guys physically ready or mentally focused for each challenge?
Well, that's why we basically have taken a couple days off. They had all day yesterday off, and I just don't. We're not going to go long. I think we're going to run for 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, something like that, just to keep the cardio.
You're playing your best basketball, I would think, right now. The last 2 games are really good. You put much into that going into postseason play. I'm sure you've seen it both ways. How do you approach that with you guys playing so well right now?
John, I don't think we played very well, to be honest with you. I don't think we played very well against Baylor. Though we played pretty well against Tech, I didn't think we played very well against Baylor.
Result turned out
We
well.
defended.
Yeah.
I thought we did a really good job of defending. They're hard to defend. But offensively, we weren't very good at all. And we've gotten better, but we have to continue to get better, particularly at the offensive end, and we got to get better in transition. And we had a 3-on-1 and ran over a guy. How do you do that 3-on-1? We don't make the decisions we need to make in transition.
Having said that, Baylor scored the fewest points at home, I guess, this year. So you did that part.
We guarded well. And it's kind of rare when you can play full court and then get back and be really sound at half court, and I thought we were pretty sound. I thought Nate was terrific. I thought Nate had a great game defensively.
Coach, is there anything to the fact that Javon is the only guy on the team who started every game this year, or is that just the way it's happened?
Just kind of the way it shook out. I don't know that there's any significance to it.
How do you go about taking a off guard and making him into a point guard? And what challenges do you meet with him?
Well, you take a guy like JC. He was used to scoring the ball, and those guys worry about where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do, about reading screens, about those kind of things. Where when you got the ball in your hands all the time, you got to worry about where everybody is. You can't run a set and have some guy in the wrong place. I mean, you really can't run a set if you got somebody on the wrong side of the floor. And those guys are in charge of knowing not just what they're supposed to do, but what everybody on the floor is supposed to do and where everybody on the floor is supposed to be.
JC said he has to think like you. He says that's been a work in progress. He's got to be the guy out there that's in tune with you. And
He's got a long way to go, John.
I was going to say, but that's part of the role of what he's doing now.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what Wani said. That you have to understand kind of what we want done in certain situations, because you can't always look over the bench and get, it's not It's not some other sports where you can rely on the coach to send you signals in and all that stuff. It's hard. Can't hear. Probably if I had all those signs that football had, everybody behind us would bitch. Couldn't see, so.
But you had to do that. You went from being an off guard to a point guard, so you had to do this. So you understand and can appreciate it maybe a little better than maybe somebody can have to go through that.
Yeah, those other people, though, didn't have you pulling you out of your bedroom when you're trying to do your algebra to say, come in here and look at this, at 10 o'clock at night like I had to. My deal's totally different because I grew up around it and I live with the coach. So I got 4 full hours of practice and then whatever he deemed necessary for film study. So
6 years ago, you talked so much about that "do what we do." It was sort of the mantra for that Final Four team. Is that still the case? Do you have anything, a buzzword or phrase that you try to hammer home with these guys? If you do this, you'll be successful.
I think that's anytime you're involved in a team situation, or a corporation for that matter. You do the things that you're asked to do to make the whole better. That's what it's about.